Welcome back to this week's episode of Street Smarts. I'm Pam Robbins, and I'm here with Jeff Cooper. And Jeff Cooper's a friend of ours we've had for a long time. He's a local appraiser. We're actually in his gorgeous distillery, where he makes all kinds of cool things here. But we came to talk to him about his appraiser career. So tell me why you became an appraiser.
Well, let's see. I was in oil and gas in Louisiana, and decided I wanted to be home with my kids more. And I looked at different things. I wanted to be a realtor, and I had a few deals drop in my lap. Decided that wasn't for me. I don't know. It was kind of interesting because when I was going through the coursework, the section on appraisers struck me as something I really liked. So having the experience as a realtor, I didn't have to work for it, and it was back in 1984.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was before that. It was 83. And I didn't like it. Too much running around. So I took some appraisal courses. They were few and far between, and nothing like it is today. And I really enjoyed it. And then I hounded a guy relentlessly until he gave in.
To let you work with them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing about appraisers that's really different, that you have to kind of apprentice or whatever with them, don't you?
Yes, you do. And there are firms who, old guys like me, they don't really go out in the field. They have to, but the appraisal board makes a lot of accommodations.
Let's talk a little bit about the process, because I'd forgotten about how it's very complicated to become an appraiser. It's time consuming, right? How long does it take?
And it is complicated. It's time consuming.
So if I wanted to be an appraiser, how long would it take me to be on my own?
Well, you couldn't do it on your own.
You have to start with some.
You have to have a supervisor.
For how long?
For about, as long as it takes to get the quality experiences. Nowadays, like if you were come with me, I haven't trained anybody forever, but I don't do a whole lot of work. I just choose not.
You get to pick and choose.
Yeah. So you would maybe find somebody like me that was willing, but then it may take you longer. You may find a group that does a whole bunch of appraisals, and they do them cheap, and they crank them out, and it just it's not the best, really. And I typically don't do reviews very often. Well, I have done a few, because there's some that I just want to do. And it's usually complex. That's what I like.
Reviews.
Yeah.
And what's a review? Is that an appraisal, or is that?
A field review is when you go out in the field and review somebody else's work. You follow their steps, and you concur or not with the value. And I will do those periodically when they pay the fee.
That's interesting.
Yeah, typically they never pay the fee, so I don't do them. But I have done a few, and all this is said just to come to the point that it's really scary what some of these appraisers do.
Yeah, I've come to you with several I've had questions on.
Yeah,
because it's very important that, it used to be that we could pick an appraiser, and then when we went through the downfall of the housing industry several years ago, they stopped that, blaming that on our relationships, but that was not what it was. But it now we have no say and the banks have no say in who they get, so you get what you get with the appraiser. And
Pretty much, yeah.
it's important to have someone like Jeff in your field of influence, because I can come to you, like I've had several, and this is a little specific for just a general public, but for other realtors, a Tidewater, which is where the appraiser is saying, I can't find comps to come up with the price that you're selling the house for, and then, you know, we go back and do an appraisal, not really an appraisal, but we go back and try to do all the legwork that the appraiser was doing. So anyway, well, tell us, let's switch over to kind of the best part of your job as an appraiser. What would you say that is?
Well, that'd be the variety. You know, I get to see a lot of different properties in different areas. Now, they look at geographic competence. Well, that's really wrong to say that I'm not geographically competent in certain areas if I would go way outside the bounds.
What areas are you? Central North Carolina or all of North Carolina? Or?
Well, I can do all of North Carolina. There was a time when I appraised in the southeast United States,
wow.
But I've appraised in Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, some Florida, but that was just supervising. This was a long time ago, and you know, I've done South Carolina and North Carolina and Virginia, and I advised on West Virginia and Tennessee, and I just do North Carolina.
Now you're just doing.
Yeah. But see, that was before licensure.
Yeah. Let me go back to the original thing we were talking about, to become an appraiser. Like in North Carolina, in a normal situation, when an appraiser went under as an apprentice, would it take them 2 or 3 years to become an appraiser on their own?
Yeah.
It would take a while. Yeah, so it's a long process. It's
it is a process. They keep trying to dumb it down, and I think they've pretty much succeeded, because if you look at an appraiser, and you see what is obviously or should be experience, and you look at the work and you say that there's something very bad, very important missing in the assignment, that you know, it could be a lot better. In some cases it could be completely better.
One thing that you explained to me one time, and I'd like for you to explain here, which helped me when I'm trying to pull comps, is you talked about apples to apples and oranges to oranges.
Yeah.
So can you explain kind of what that looks like? When you look at a house and you appraise the value, the appraised value of it, what are you looking for?
Well, let's see. All right, apples to apples, it is greatly, it sweeps a large area.
So does it have to be a similar, like
it has to be a similar house
style, like a ranch house?
Yeah.
Would you want to turn it to a ranch house?
Yes,
or?
a ranch to 1.5.
Okay.
Only.
And you're looking at the area.
Yeah, in the area.
Proximity.
And if you have like a resale in an area and it's a 2-story, you're comparing it to a ranch. Both are on crawl spaces. There's a bit of concern there. It can be, but it'd be one of your lesser
comps.
But you know, you should be able to find typically for a ranch to choose another ranch at a 1.5 story, and just avoid the 2-story dilemma.
Yeah.
And then
and the apples to apples also is not just the style, but it's the condition, right? So if it's
it's the condition,
upgraded.
it's the age range. For instance, recently, there's one client that will come back with a reconsideration of value because I happen to come in low. Oh, so bad. And they were up in the stratosphere in their price. So who's unrealistic?
Right.
And
We're seeing that some with
yeah,
the prices on houses.
Well,
right
these
now.
people send in a reconsideration of value, and they put in all this explanation, and they choose all of the sales for their ROV to use, and they're newer, and the home is it's clearly an older home, and all the sales are older homes, and it shows.
So
just,
that's not apples to apples.
No, and
Right.
they have a couple of sales that may be more proximate, like or very close by, but they're newer by half, and they are of different design, and you have basements and all these things. You have acreage, all these concerns. Everything's value related,
Right.
and they are putting that through as a comparable sale, and
Just doesn't work.
yeah. So either that's going to they're going to stop doing that, or I'm going to jettison that particular client. I just,
Yeah.
I can't do the work and then redo the work and explain or educate somebody else.
Right. The things you're looking at when you are pulling out your comps, you're looking at proximity to the subject home.
Yes.
You're looking at similar styles, and you're
Mhm.
looking at similar condition, whether it's upgraded or not, etc. Right? Those are the main
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's really good to, right, these days we have a lot more available, not as much as a year or two ago,
Mhm.
but more than 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I was just thinking about it the other day. I do these things, I actually think about it. That when I'm out, I was thinking about how difficult it is to find sales, and how when they're very, very limited, there's a way to, well, when they're very limited, that small things mean more now.
Right.
At that point. And now these small things are not even dealt with,
Right.
because it's a wash of data
Right.
that you can put in your report, and you just tend to address the bits of information to a degree that makes sense to the whole deal.
So on the appraisal, who orders that?
Appraisals are ordered by anybody.
Another thing that you do that helps me a lot, that I use a lot, is you'll do measurements on homes
Yes.
to measure the square footage. And so and I do that a lot if there's a question about, like, oh, I'm not sure if this was included, because tax records, as we know, are not always correct. So what happens if you
Try
measure a
never.
house, right? What happens if you measure a house and you get 1,650 square feet, but the tax records say 1,300? What's correct? 1,650, and that trumps the tax value. So we can list the home for the square footage that you've
Yes.
measured it at.
Yes. The only difference is, if you look at the house, it could be some finished basement area that they moved to the upper level, which is wrong. There are certain counties that the realtors tend to include the finished basement into the overall GLA, and
it's not valued at the same
no,
rate.
no, that's wrong. So you just it's just a way to go through it. It's
What's helpful to
rather
us.
than take issue with it, we just look at it for what it is.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, and say, oh, yeah, this is one where they look at the basement, and they only include the base area, first floor, in their square footage.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get any help from the tax card, but you can get some help, but you know, as far as that's concerned,
Very basic. Yeah.
It's
Right.
just not gonna work out. But also, I found that the tax office is a taxing authority, and they come up with figures, and that's it. That's fine. And they're very good at saying tax value is, we see it as 3 bedrooms, and the MLS shows it as 4. And the appraiser is not in there, but we look at it for what it is. It's not really space in use. It's what is intended. For instance, you can use the dining room as an office. I've seen that 1,000 times. Yeah. I personally use our living room as an office. I just put a little area over in the corner, or I use the whole thing. I've always done that.
So I'll bet, as many years as you've done this, that you have some crazy stories that have happened.
41 years in February.
Okay. So what are some that come to mind when I ask you that?
Yeah, I've got stories.
You want to tell us one or two?
Well, I kind of touched on a few of them there, but there's the best part about it is I go to different houses, and I get to meet different people, and that's fun. That's always good. And the older I've gotten, the longer I stay there and talk. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I like it better being older doing this. So the stories would be better about the good stuff.
Yeah.
The good properties I've done, the good people I've met.
The friends you've made.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's what your job and our job is about, really, is relationships.
Mine is a relationship with the property, and the people are ancillary. It's just, but to think of it, the people are a big part of everything, and hell, without us, it doesn't work.
Right.
Nothing happens.
Right.
And I've met you and Betsy, and I've met scores of others, and we have developed long-lasting friendships. Mm-hmm. So it's always after the fact that we have a problem with the property, and somebody needs help, or somebody has a question, or there's just something that I can do to help the situation come together.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk a little bit about where we are, this gorgeous space, and what you do here as another career? You've had so many careers in your life, but
well, you have one basic career that pays for everything.
And so where are we?
We are in the middle of 100 acres, and that's where I built our codename Barn. It's a distillery.
Nice.
Yes, founding
and what do you
fathers
produce here?
I produce whiskey and rum currently. I have a few others on the chopping block to do. I've got to do vodka. I will not touch gin. I'm only going to do vodka because my brother wants it, and I because I just don't like it. I just. So
well, I need some vodka because I'm going to make homemade vanilla extract.
You see, yeah.
See? Yes. So I can try your first run in making some.
Well, that's the thing. I fear that it will go well. And,
I'm sure everything you touch goes well. That's what is amazing.
Well, thank you for that. I try hard, but do photography, and I've been a professional photographer for longer than I've done an appraiser.
Wow.
Now these guys here, you don't see them, but they're the founding fathers. I always say that they brought their homework so I can take a picture. It's an etching of all the founders. Well, I don't have George. I'm looking for George. I've got him somewhere.
Okay, it's misplaced.
But I write books, children's books and everything else, poetry. And I'm collected by the UNC Chapel Hill Davis Library. It's called the North Carolina Collection.
Nice.
And so everything I do that they select.
That's really cool.
And I'm in the Library of Congress. These are accolades that they're fun.
Yeah.
I like them. And you know, I do all the artwork. I draw and paint, and
That's very nice.
you know, there's always something to do. So Jeff stays busy.
Yeah, Jeff is a busy man. We want to thank you for spending time with us and going through all this information for our friends, and we'll see you again next week.
Good.